One of the most controversial policies was Mamdani saying, I'm going to make New York buses faster.
Dude, think about how bad American politics is, that CNN, which is supposed to be the communist news network, is literally turning around and saying one of his most controversial policies is fast and free buses. How can you read that as anything but antagonistic to the working class, dude? I think it's pure cope to be like, well, it is controversial. It's controversial because like it's hard to push, and maybe that's why they're talking about it. It's like, it's controversial to who? Ask every working class person, okay? Let's say we have unlimited funds. Do you want fast and free public transit? They're going to say yes. Controversial to who? Controversial to Ford? Okay. This is what I mean. It's like controversial to the rich, I guess. It's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. This is something that people need to pay attention to. When I say there is this uniparty consensus when it comes to certain things, issues that pertain to the working poor and their best interests, there is a uniparty consensus on constantly telling you that this stuff is unachievable, constantly telling you that this stuff is actually bad for you. Things that are actually good for you, no, they're not good. They're bad for you. Remember that, okay?
But the key word here, free. How do New Yorkers feel about that prospect?
This was a very controversial thing, right, Sarah Seidner? Very controversial thing. But look at this. New York City voters on free buses by taxing millionaires and billionaires more. Look at this. 50% supported in New York City compared to 41% who oppose it. Now, here's the key thing, right? We're talking about millionaires, billionaires, the whole idea. Will there be this rush of billionaires to leave New York? Will there be this rush? Well, take a look at the prediction market. The chance of 8 or more billionaires leaving New York City by the middle of next year, look at that. It's just 21%.
Oh my God, prediction markets, suck my dick. God damn it, I hate this shit. Okay, I hate the prediction market nonsense, but the reality of the matter is, of course they're not going to leave. Why would they leave? New York is already more expensive even before this tax, okay? New York is significantly more expensive to live in than even before this fucking tax would be implemented, right? And they still choose to live in New York. Why? Because it's fucking New York City. This is what's so frustrating to me about all of these conversations about like, oh, well, the wealthy will leave if we tax them more. It's like, first of all, there are mechanisms around that, okay? We can do an exit tax, for example. If you want to leave, you got to fucking dump boatloads of the labor and the value that you secured from this wonderful state before you leave, and we'll fucking slap your ass on the way out. Bye-bye, okay? That will force people to sit the fuck down and really reconsider whether they want to leave or not. But it won't even get to that point. And the reason why it won't get to that point is because, of course, they're not going to leave. They want to be in New York. They want to be in Los Angeles. All right? It's just not happening. The real problem is the working class leaves New York. The working class leaves Los Angeles. And we have to work on making sure that they don't have to leave. And the reason why they leave New York and Los Angeles is because it's unaffordable. Okay? That's the problem. It's unaffordable. I also personally despise this narrative that the wealthy hold our economy hostage at gunpoint. Okay? I despise that shit. Have you ever heard of Austin, bro? Yeah, guess what? I have. They're going to move to Austin, bro. Wake up. I have. They all hate it. The only person that still loves Austin is Joe Rogan. Every single person that left to go to Austin actually made it worse than what it was. Austin was one of the wokest parts of Texas, okay? It had its own little like woke bubble. They came in, all the hogs came in from out of state and ruined it, okay? They unironically came in and they wanted to bring some of the, some of the elements of being in a liberal city, but they actually were also incredibly reactionary, and they ruined Austin. They made Austin worse. And now they're all leaving Austin. They fucked it up, and now they're leaving. That's one of the funniest aspects of this, because they still want to live in Los Angeles. They still want to live in New York. Ironically enough, if they had not moved to Austin and Austin just kind of developed on its own, it probably would have turned into another New York or maybe another Los Angeles. But they came in and they fucked it up, and they ruined Austin's chances of developing into its own little thing. These guys claim they hate woke, but they love moving to woke areas. I wonder why. As someone who's lived in ATX for 14 years, yeah, they made it worse, but I wouldn't say they ruined it. Austin is still one of the best cities in the country to live in. I mean, I personally don't like it, but then again, I am a little bit of an elitist. I don't even think Los Angeles is a real city, and I grew up in cities my whole life. But yeah, these guys love going to other woke areas in red states and then fucking it up because they want to take the worst elements of conservatism and slam it into an area that is developing on its own. Would you ever move to Austin? No. Yeah, the billionaires are openly discussing primarying Ro Khanna, not realizing that this actually is an incredible campaign for Ro Khanna, for the record. I left California 5 years ago. I'm certainly not a billionaire, but the ballot proposition that Ro Khanna is pushing to levy a 5% wealth tax that is spending California resources more efficiently is so offensive to the principles of innovation that he should be primaried. Yeah, Peter Thiel is leaving California if we pass a 1% tax on billionaires for 5 years to pay for healthcare for the working class facing steep Medicaid cuts. I echo what FDR said with sarcasm of economic royalists when they threatened to leave. I will miss them very much. That's the other thing. People love eating off the previous implementation of social democracy in this fucking country. Okay? If you have any infrastructure whatsoever in your town, thank the New Deal. Okay? It is because America at a certain point had so much pressure from socialist, trade unionists, communists alike, that they had to respond to that pressure and the economic explosion that took place in the Great Depression. And they had to do serious, centrally planned implementation of social democracy. Okay? And we're still eating off of the royalties of that implementation. And it blows my fucking mind that we don't even recognize it. The other movement was obviously the fully centrally planned war economy that we had to implement during World War II. Okay? Post World War II, we ate good off of that as well. And yet, for some reason, people love the benefits and the bounties of socialization, but they think they hate socialism. And you hear it. Red Scare propaganda is so effective, has been so effective in undermining any kind of socialism in this country that you can have a straight up conversation. You can have a long, extended conversation with a coworker of yours talking about, oh, we got to get healthcare, man. Wouldn't it be nice if we just actually funded our schools instead of funding bombs overseas? And they'll go, yeah, I agree. That's actually a great idea. I agree. This is such a fantastic idea, right? But the moment that you say, oh yeah, we should have socialized medicine, they go, whoa, 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 I don't want that. The fuck do you mean socialized? I hate that, actually. It's the Obamacare ACA principle. You slap Obama onto it, they hate it. You talk about, do you like that healthcare providers can't deny you coverage because of pre-existing conditions? They go, I love that. Do you like that? You can stay under your parents' insurance until the age of 26? They go, I love that. Slap the name Obama on it. They go, whoa, I fucking hate that. I hate it. You can convince the average American, no matter how right-wing they are, no matter where they live, about how wonderful socialism would be as long as you never say social, as long as you don't slap social anywhere, as long as you don't say socialism anywhere in that conversation. It's crazy. And that is because people are insanely propagandized. They don't realize it. They're just kind of dumb. Okay? I'm sorry. It's just the truth. It's just the fucking truth. We are the most propagandized people on the planet, and we think we're so fucking smart. We think we're all free thinkers, okay? The most propagandized amongst us unironically assume that they are the most woke and the most tapped in and the most aware of the propaganda when they're actually the least aware of the propaganda. We're a nation of easily tricked adults. Anyway, they hate socialism because they think they know what socialism is, because they've been told socialism is wrong, immoral, terrifying, and that there is no other alternative economic organization of society that would work. And that propaganda still continues. Do you find yourself falling for propaganda and snapping out of it? I am the propaganda. I mean, I'm sure there are, yeah, of course. No one is over it. Like, I am still very much susceptible to it as well. There are biases that I have to sometimes go back and think about and think thoroughly on. Okay? So, yeah, of course. Can you give a fall of communism in Russia? Give a summary of that? I mean, I don't know. Look at what's going on in the Trump world in the United States of America right now. It's pretty close to a 101 without any external factors that are really fucking trying to destroy the United States of America. Like, we're doing it to ourselves. It's very similar, I would say. There are a lot of similarities to the fucking fall of the USSR, like the internal issues. And we're basically doing it to ourselves right now in the United States of America without any of the fucking external factors that are trying to destroy the United States of America. Even though we always claim that there are people out there that are out to get us, trying to destroy us all the time. They just happen to be, in countries that we would like to bomb into oblivion. There's wiggle room between Stalin and Mao were good or bad people. They're historical people who are oftentimes main villains in American education, but they're not the heroes that progressives hoist them up to be. I would say that defeating the Nazis is pretty solid. I mean, if I give credit to fucking Churchill for that, I'm going to give credit to Stalin for that. You know, that's a pretty fucking solid thing. Western progressives don't take into consideration the views of the global South. I mean, it's true. Yes, Western chauvinism is a big part of the, it's a big part of the equation here. Anyway,
is this the national or future leader of sort of the Democratic Party direction? But I can imagine a lot of Republicans are also looking at this too to see where the holes are. I wonder how you're evaluating what might come next for soon-to-be Mayor Mamdani.
He's proved to be a great foil for Republicans so far, but what is to be seen is if he truly is a socialist, if he's more pragmatic in his policies and governance, or if he's just simply naive. He certainly tapped in.
There is no, workers' party in this country. There is no objective, open, communist major party in this country. We don't have a parliamentary system to begin with. You are never going to have a real socialist, okay? It's just that's not how this works, okay? If you win power in this country, you are not going to be winning power, at least in this stage, through real earnest socialism. At best, you are going to be pragmatic and probably try to move the needle in the direction of social democracy. That's just the truth. And I try to explain this to people all the fucking time, and people still yell at me and they think they say I am a shepherd for the Democratic Party. And here they are, once again, not building communism. So I don't know what the fuck they want from me. Okay. We have very different methods on this. Yeah. CNN has a former Bush guy on to analyze Zohran. Oh, I'm so shocked that the former White House spokesman for President George W. Bush, Pete Seat, has this to say about Zohran Mamdani.
To the anxiety of voters by making a lot of promises that he may not be able to keep. There could be institutional resistance. There could be bureaucratic pushback. We don't know. His policies could be a complete, total, utter failure. I think that's the most likely scenario to unfold here in the next couple of years. That's all to be seen. But I think a lot of Republicans across the country, where I live in Indiana, people are watching Zohran Mamdani to see what he does and if it's as bad as we predict it will be.
And a lot of New Yorkers here hoping that he lives up to some of his promises. Karen, I want to bring you in and widen the scope here, because 2026 is obviously a midterm year, and Democrats had big wins in this year's elections, Mamdani one of them. I wonder how you see the stakes, not just of the beginning to Mamdani's mayorship, but also around.
I think they're a little worried about the possible success that Mamdani might achieve, albeit marginal. Because, like, remember, his endpoint, what he ran on, if developed, is very modest expansions of pre-existing welfare structures, modest expansion of the pre-existing public transit system. Like, he's not rewriting anything, right? He's not changing the game at all. But even that modest direction towards social democracy is fucking terrifying for people in power. Why is it terrifying for people in power? Because it is moving in the direction of anti-capitalism. The moment that you actually go after private enterprise and their profits in any capacity, no matter how tiny it is, this means you are losing control. This means that capital is losing control. And that's fucking terrifying for capital. Okay? Just as the bosses at your mega corporation they work at will spend a fuck ton more money on labor lawyers to come in and destroy any sort of initiative towards unionization, okay, and spend far more money in the short term than they would lose if the union was to be developed and could demand more benefits, for example, a bigger percentage of the profits that they are generating off of their surplus labor value. Okay, it's the principle, it's the fear of losing control. Because let's say Zohran Mamdani actually achieves these modest, marginal, incremental changes that he wants to implement. All of a sudden, people are going to wake up. They're going to recognize, oh shit, we can actually vote for a positive figure. We can actually vote for an affirmative agenda. We can actually demand more from our politicians, and they will listen to our demands. And that is unacceptable. They will first always work to kill your hope. They will always, first and foremost, work to kill your dreams, to kill your confidence in this government. And liberals play a massive role in this, okay? Obama played a massive role in this, as a matter of fact. You can't have that. No matter how tiny, no matter how incremental the gains could be for the working class, the capital owners do not want that. And that's precisely the reason why you will see more and more, in my opinion, unless Zohran becomes a total fucking sellout, phony, a total slave to the capital owners, okay? And we shall see. You know, we shall see if that's the direction that he goes in, right? Unless he does that, most of the servants of capital in the media will aggressively attack him.
How will the party, the Democratic Party, be watching what happens in New York as they gauge for how they should proceed?
It's such a fascinating story to watch. And I think the answer is kind of at arm's length, like kind of like looking, but then looking away. You've got Democrats nationally saying New York City is not the same as swing districts across the United States or statewide offices in many states.
Yeah, true. When you ask people in West Virginia if they also want immediate improvements into their living conditions and like a more affordable existence, they go, of course not. That's my least favorite thing of all time. Famously, it's a losing equation everywhere else. And before people say, hey, obviously look at like a place like Tennessee and whatnot, this is a failure. You have to remember, okay, this shit takes time. It requires a shit ton of money to go against the unlimited propaganda from the right, okay? It's not going to happen overnight.